Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Does Lily help Victor get rid of her ex by setting up a trap for Kane? According to previews for The Young and the Restless, Lily Winters will assist in setting up a trap for her ex-husband Kane Ashby. Lily is aware that Kane has to be restrained. If she can't halt Kane in his tracks, she worries about everyone who matters to her. Lily's desire to prevent Kane from killing herself surpasses her mistrust of Victor. With the obvious objective of defeating Kane and preventing his takeover of Chancellor Industries, Jabot, Winters, and Newman Enterprises, it could result in a cooperation. Lily and the devil make a deal. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, Lily is aware that Kane must be stopped at all costs. That leads her to make a dubious choice. Victor gives Lily a call and asks her to come see him at the ranch. Lily understood right away what the meeting's subject would be. Before coming for their conversation, she considers her alternatives. She acts as though she is unsure of what he is asking of her when he asks whether she would be open to working with him on a particular project. According to Y&R teasers, Victor wants Lily to help him trap Kane in order to win this ugly corporate war. He clarifies that Kane wants to acquire Winters, Jabot, Chancellor Industries, and Newman Enterprises. Knowing the entire scope of Kane's devious schemes, Lily appears to be in disbelief. At last, Lily consents to collaborate with Victor. Although she knows Kane must be stopped, she tells Victor that she doesn't trust him. She worries for her children's welfare in addition to the corporation's future. She finds it inconceivable that he would wreak such havoc in Genoa City. She doesn't want the twins to know about his schemes and how he was behind the killings of Chancellor and Damian Kane. Lily establishes a trap. Without wasting any time, Lily plans to eliminate Kane. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, she asks Kane to see her in an attempt to persuade him that she wants to speak. Kane stops talking when the topic shifts to business. He says he wants to talk to her about getting back together and doesn't want to drag her into the corporate conflict. Lily Winters had always tried to find the good in people, even in Kane Ashby, the man who had once broken her heart more than once and yet still held a strange, unrelenting pull over her. But as she sat alone in the quiet office at Chancellor Winters, reviewing documents detailing Kane's increasingly erratic corporate moves, her fingers trembled. She wasn't looking at just another boardroom power play, she was staring at the early warning signs of a full-scale hostile takeover that would rattle Genoa City to its core. Kane wasn't just pushing boundaries, he was preparing to blow them to bits. What frightened Lily most wasn't his ambition, it was his recklessness. She knew Kane well enough to recognize when he was spiraling, and this was far worse than any scheme he had pulled in the past. He wasn't just after Newman or Jabot. He wanted all of it: Chancellor, Newman, Winters, and even the Abbott family legacy. And if that wasn't enough to convince her something was deeply wrong, there were whispers connecting him to Damian Kane's and Chancellor's shocking deaths, whispers she tried to ignore until they became impossible to silence. That's when the call came. Victor Newman, the man known as the Black Knight and perhaps the only one with enough gravitas and cunning to outmaneuver Kane, wanted to speak with her privately. The moment she received the request to meet him at the ranch, she understood what the meeting was about. Part of her hesitated. Victor never asked for anything unless he could gain something from it. And history had proven his definition of loyalty could be flexible. But Lily also knew that desperate times required unlikely alliances. If working with Victor could put an end to Kane's dangerous spiral, she would grit her teeth and do it, not just for Chancellor Winters, but for her children. The twins deserved better than a father who left destruction in his wake. When Lily arrived at the ranch, Victor was already waiting in the study, sipping a glass of brandy like a man who'd spent decades watching empires rise and fall, many by his own hand. "Lily," he greeted her with a tight smile, one that never quite reached his eyes. "I appreciate you coming." Lily sat across from him, posture strong, but her jaw clenched. "Let's not waste time, Victor. You want my help taking Kane down. Why?" Victor chuckled softly, swirling his drink. "Because I respect you. And I know you're not blind to what Kane is doing. The man's gone rogue. He's not just after power, he's out for revenge, and he doesn't care who gets hurt in the process." Lily nodded slowly, folding her arms. "I know. But I also know you, Victor. You don't do anything unless it serves your own interests." Victor's smile widened. Touché. But in this case, our interests align. You want to stop Kane before he takes everything down with him. So do I. There was a long pause before Lily leaned forward. I'll help you. But this isn't about Newman. It's about Chancellor Winters, my family, and my children. I need to know this ends with Kane walking away, not getting dragged through another scandal, or worse, dead. Victor nodded. Agreed. I want him neutralized, not eliminated. Still unsure how much she trusted that promise, Lily rose to her feet. Then I have an idea. But you won't like it. Victor raised a brow. I'm listening. We set a trap. And I'm the bait. Lily's plan was dangerous, but it was the only way she knew Kane would let his guard down. She arranged to meet him under the pretense of wanting to reconnect both personally and professionally. It was a gamble, but Lily knew Kane still had feelings for her. He wouldn't ignore an invitation from the woman he once believed was his soulmate. They met at a quiet bistro on the outskirts of Genoa City, far from the prying eyes of the press and the boardrooms buzzing with whispers of power shifts. Kane arrived looking confident, cocky, even the kind of swagger that came with knowing you had leverage no one else did. But Lily saw something else underneath that facade, desperation. And that made him more dangerous than ever. You look good, Lil. Kane said as he leaned in to kiss her cheek. I wasn't sure you'd call. Lily smiled faintly, careful not to let her nerves show. It's been a long time. I thought maybe it was time to talk. About the kids? Kane asked, already softening. About everything, she replied, her voice smooth but measured. As their dinner progressed, Lily guided the conversation skillfully, pretending to be uncertain, torn between loyalty to her family and a lingering connection to him. She dangled just enough hope to keep Kane intrigued, just enough to make him reveal pieces of his plan. And it worked. Kane, emboldened by her supposed vulnerability, began to share more than he intended. Everything's going to change, Lily, he said, voice low and intense. They don't see it yet, but I'm not going to let them lock me out anymore. Victor, Jack, Devon, they think they can freeze me out of everything I helped build? No. This is my time. And what about Chancellor? She asked gently. And Winters? You really think blowing it all up will help? Kane's eyes darkened. Sometimes you have to break things to rebuild them. Lily felt her stomach twist. This wasn't the man she had loved. This was someone else entirely. But she held the mask in place, nodding slowly. Maybe you're right. Maybe we should talk about what comes next, together. Kane looked stunned. You'd consider coming back? With me. Lily reached for his hand. If it meant protecting everything we built, I'd consider it. Meanwhile, Victor's team, including Claire Newman and even reluctant help from Nate Hastings, were monitoring everything. The table was bugged, and every word from Kane's mouth was being recorded. They needed enough to expose his involvement in the deaths of Damien Kane and Chance, and they were getting closer by the minute. Later that night, Lily returned to the ranch to meet Victor and play back the recordings. What they heard stunned even the Black Knight. Kane didn't just want control, he wanted to dismantle everything and rebuild it in his own image. And more chillingly, he hinted that Damien and Chance had simply gotten in the way. He didn't say it outright, Lily murmured, trembling. But it was clear enough. He was behind both deaths. Victor set down the recorder and steepled his fingers. That's all I need. What are you going to do with it? She asked. Victor's expression hardened. Use it. Quietly. He'll never see it coming. Lily turned away, a mix of relief and sorrow washing over her. She had done what needed to be done, but at what cost? Her children would one day learn that their mother helped take down their father. She hoped they'd understand, that they'd forgive her. Because Kane had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. And if she didn't stop him now, there might not be anything left of Chancellor Winters or Newman Enterprises to save. As the sun rose over Genoa City the next morning, the trap had been set, and the first domino had fallen. Lily Winters had made a deal with the devil, but in doing so, she just might have saved the soul of the city she loved. Still, a part of her wondered, when the dust settled, and the truth came to light, who would be left standing? And would she recognize herself among the survivors? The following days unfolded like a chess match, each player calculating their next move, anticipating threats, and covering vulnerabilities. For Lily, the weight of her decision grew heavier with every hour. The act of betrayal, no matter how justified, clung to her spirit. She'd once loved Kane with every fiber of her being. They'd raised children together, navigated tragedy and triumph, rebuilt from rubble. But now, she was helping orchestrate his downfall. What made it even more bitter was that Kane wasn't some power-hungry stranger. He was the father of her twins, someone she had once dreamed of growing old with. Still, that didn't change the fact that he had become a threat to everything and everyone she held dear. There were no illusions left. Kane had to be stopped. Victor wasted no time. He met with Michael Baldwin in private and handed over the evidence. Lily had gathered the damning audio that, while not a full confession, clearly implicated Kane in plotting against several of Genoa City's most powerful families and hinted at his role in the deaths of Damien Kane and Chance Chancellor. Victor's instructions were clear: pursue civil litigation, investigate criminal possibilities, and most importantly, keep Kane too entangled in legal warfare to move forward with his corporate coup. Victor didn't want to see Kane imprisoned, not yet. He wanted to see him isolated, cornered, and powerless. To Victor, justice was about more than the law. It was about crushing his enemies until they had no choice but to bow out or beg. At the same time, Lily initiated the second phase of the trap. She arranged a meeting between Kane and Devon, under the pretense of reconciliation. Devon was skeptical at first, but after hearing the audio himself, he agreed to play along reluctantly. The brothers-in-law hadn't exactly had the smoothest relationship over the years, but Devon trusted Lily. And more importantly, he trusted her instincts. Kane arrived at society, grinning like a man convinced his life was about to change for the better. "Devon," he said warmly, extending his hand. "Didn't expect you'd actually show up." "I almost didn't," Devon replied coolly. "But Lily said it was important." Kane nodded, ordering a drink and sitting down, his tone relaxed, almost arrogant. "It is. I've been thinking maybe it's time to let bygones be bygones. You and I have fought over a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we're family. Chancellor Winters needs unity, and I think I'm the right man to lead it into the future." Devon's brow lifted slightly. "And what about Lily?" "She'll come around," Kane said confidently. "She always does. Once she sees what I've built, how much control I've gained, she'll see the value in joining me again. You, me, Lily, we could run this city." Devon kept his expression unreadable, but internally, his blood boiled. Kane wasn't interested in unity, he wanted control. Absolute control. And he was willing to manipulate Lily to get it. That's when Devon decided to push. What if Lily doesn't come around? What if she sees through all this? Kane smirked. Then she'll be on the outside looking in. She'll have no choice but to come back when she sees everything she's losing. That was all Devon needed. The smugness, the disregard, the assumption that Lily was just another pawn. It was more than enough. The trap was working. Kane had no idea that both his former wife and brother-in-law were recording every word. Back at the Newman Ranch, Victor reviewed the latest footage with Claire and Michael. The look on his face said it all. "It's time," he said. "We go public." Lily, however, had one final card to play. She called Kane and asked to meet alone at their old lake house. The place held memories, both good and bad. It was where they'd taken the kids during summer breaks, where they'd once dreamed about building a life of peace after the madness of Genoa City. But now, it would be the place where Lily showed Kane the truth, that the woman he thought he could manipulate was always 3 steps ahead. Kane arrived just before sunset, the golden glow of the water reflecting off his dark sunglasses. He looked around nostalgically. "You chose here." "I wanted to remember who we were," Lily said softly. "Before all of this." "We can be that again," Kane said quickly, walking toward her. "It doesn't have to end in war." Lily looked at him carefully, noting how he still believed in his charm as though love could erase blood and betrayal. "Kane, I know everything. About Damien. About Chance. About the deals with that Singapore syndicate, the bribes, the shell companies set up to buy controlling shares through offshore accounts. I know all of it." Kane froze. His smile faded. "What are you talking about?" "I recorded our conversations. Devon did too. And Victor has already submitted the audio to legal counsel. You're done, Kane." His face twisted in disbelief, then rage. You set me up. You left me no choice, she snapped, her voice shaking. You were going to destroy everything. And I won't let you do that, not to this family, not to our children, and not to myself. You think they'll believe you? He hissed. You think Victor will protect you when this turns on him? I don't need Victor to protect me, Lily said, her voice firm. Because I did the right thing. And the truth is enough. Cain stepped forward as if to challenge her, but paused. Something inside him broke. Maybe it was the realization that the empire he tried to build on lies was now crumbling beneath him. Maybe it was the last thread of humanity he had left. He backed away, his voice suddenly hollow. You never really believed in me, did you? I believed in the man you used to be, she said quietly. But that man is gone. Within hours, the fallout began. A formal investigation was launched into Cain's financial dealings. Michael Baldwin, acting on behalf of Victor and Chancellor Winters, filed for an injunction blocking Cain from acquiring any more shares in Newman, Chancellor, Jabot, or Winters. The SEC launched its own probe. Journalists swarmed Genoa City, hungry for a story that now included high-level corruption, death allegations, and betrayal among the elite. Cain attempted to hold a press conference, but it backfired when reporters ambushed him with questions about Damien Cain's death and the alleged cover-up of Chance's accident. His once polished facade began to crack. And as the walls closed in, Cain turned to the one person he thought might still be on his side, Billy Abbott. But Billy, too, had reached his limit. You used me, Billy said. You played everyone. And now you're reaping what you sowed. I was trying to build something. Cain shouted. You were trying to burn it all down, Billy replied. Don't confuse the two. Meanwhile, Lily returned home to find her children waiting. The twins had heard the news they weren't kids anymore. And in the age of the internet, nothing stayed secret for long. Mattie spoke first. You did what you had to do, Mom. I didn't want this, Lily admitted, tears in her eyes. I wanted your father to change. I wanted to protect you. Charlie stepped forward and hugged her. You did protect us. And if he can't see that, that's on him. The emotional support from her children was a balm Lily hadn't known she needed. It reminded her that while her marriage had ended, her family had not. They would endure because they still had each other. Victor, in his office, poured himself a rare second glass of brandy and allowed a small, satisfied smile. Cain Ashby had been neutralized. Not eliminated, not ruined beyond repair, but checked. The corporate war had shifted, and Victor had once again proven why he was the master strategist of Genoa City. He called Lily one last time. You did well, he said. But be careful. Men like Cain don't go down quietly. I'm not afraid of him anymore, Lily replied. And whatever happens next, I'll handle it. She ended the call and stared out the window, the city skyline glittering in the distance. Cain might have been her past, but her future was her own. Cain, alone in his penthouse, poured himself a drink and stared at the television playing yet another headline about his fall from grace. His phone buzzed a blocked number. He answered with a tired, bitter voice. Who is this? A voice on the other end spoke one sentence, low and deliberate. You shouldn't have crossed Victor Newman. The call ended. Cain's hand trembled, and for the first time in months, he realized how truly alone he was. The war was over and he had lost. But as Cain stared out into the night, a new thought crept in. If this chapter was over, maybe a darker one was about to begin. Because men like Cain Ashby don't disappear, they wait, they plot, and when the time is right, they strike. And so, Genoa City settled into uneasy silence. The storm had passed, but the clouds still lingered. Victor returned to his empire. Lily focused on rebuilding Chancellor Winters. Devon steeled himself for the legal battles ahead. And somewhere, in the shadows, Cain waited watching. Because in a city built on secrets, one truth always remained. Peace is temporary, but revenge is eternal.